Once upon a time, in a bustling city full of towering buildings and glowing streetlights, there lived a clever and curious cat named Luna. Luna was no ordinary cat, she had a sharp mind and a heart full of dreams. Her favorite thing in the world was a bag of crispy, salty potato chips. Every time she walked past a grocery store or saw a human munching on a bag, her mouth watered, and she wished she could have some for herself. One bright morning, Luna woke up to the sound of chirping birds and the distant chatter of the city. Her stomach growled, reminding her that she hadn't eaten anything delicious in a while. She stretched, licked her paws, and decided that today was the day she would get her paws on a bag of her favorite snack, potato chips. She wandered the busy streets, weaving through the legs of pedestrians, jumping over puddles, and dodging speeding bicycles. Finally, she reached a small grocery store at the corner of the street. The store was filled with shelves stacked high with colorful packets of snacks, including the golden treasure she had been longing for, a big bag of potato chips. Luna's eyes sparkled with excitement as she stared at the shiny bag. She could already imagine the crunch and the salty goodness melting in her mouth. However, there was one big problem: she had no money. Unlike humans, she couldn't walk up to the counter and buy a bag of chips. She needed a plan. She sat outside the store, thinking hard. As she watched people walk in and out, an idea struck her. She noticed that many people paid for their snacks with small pieces of metal, coins. If she could find some coins, maybe she could trade them for a bag of chips. Determined, Luna began her treasure hunt. She searched under park benches, inside trash cans, and near vending machines, but she couldn't find a single coin. Just as she was about to give up, she spotted something round and shiny rolling down the street. She dashed after it, her paws tapping against the pavement, and finally caught it. But to her disappointment, it wasn't a coin. It was a small, round potato. Luna sighed, her tail drooping in disappointment. "A potato?" she meowed. "What am I supposed to do with this?" She was about to leave it behind when an idea popped into her clever mind. Humans made potato chips from potatoes. If she couldn't buy a bag, maybe she could make her own. Excited by her brilliant plan, Luna picked up the potato and scurried away to a quiet alley where she often rested. She placed the potato down and started thinking about how to turn it into chips. She had seen humans do it before, but she needed fire, oil, and salt. Luna remembered that a kind old lady named Mrs. Jenkins lived nearby. Mrs. Jenkins often left food outside for stray animals, and she had a small cooking stove in her backyard. Maybe she could help. Luna carried the potato to Mrs. Jenkins' house and meowed loudly at the door. The old lady, familiar with Luna's visits, smiled as she saw her furry friend. "Well, hello there, Luna," she said, bending down to pet her. "What have you got there?" Luna placed the potato at her feet and meowed again, looking up with hopeful eyes. Mrs. Jenkins chuckled. "A potato? What do you want me to do with this?" Luna nudged the potato towards the stove and then looked at Mrs. Jenkins expectantly. The old lady laughed. "Oh, I see. You want me to cook it for you?" She picked up the potato and brought it inside. Luna followed her, watching as she skillfully peeled the potato, sliced it into thin pieces, and placed them in a pan of hot oil. The kitchen filled with the delicious aroma of frying potatoes. Luna's tail flicked in excitement. After a few minutes, Mrs. Jenkins took the golden, crispy chips out of the pan and sprinkled some salt on them. She placed them in a small bowl and set it down in front of Luna. "There you go, little one. Your very own homemade potato chips," she said with a warm smile. Luna eagerly took a bite, and her eyes widened in delight. The chips were even better than the store-bought ones. Crunchy, salty, and warm, they were perfect. From that day on, Luna never worried about buying chips again. Whenever she craved her favorite snack, she would find a potato and take it to Mrs. Jenkins, who happily made fresh chips for her. The clever cat had found a way to enjoy her favorite treat without spending a single coin. And so, Luna continued her adventures in the city, always looking for new ways to turn simple things into something extraordinary. She wasn't just a cat, she was a genius in her own little way. The end.